Unlike Stuart's reading, you're very unlikely to learn anything. Witnesses. I feel hampered by witnesses as I stand by and do nothing. We all hear the same laments. The church bells tell us so. We are the selfish ruins on fresh-cut grass. A dark wind caresses our dreams, but I am nothing and you are nothing too. It's not unusual. Something will happen soon enough. We can be sure of it. Tombstone. I am the Doc Holliday of Canadian poetry, a drunken gunslinger angry at the world. Walked into a reading last week and shot the unsuspecting poet right between the eyes. Picked the mic out of the air, the dead poet wouldn't need it, and rattled off my latest. The audience was lukewarm at best, but I still had some bullets, and I was confident that they would all love me soon. Ghosts in Japanese taxis. My lovely wife loves whiskey, but it only makes me want to cry. I start thinking about ghosts and how they've been haunting Japanese taxis, tsunami victims all trying to get home. I start dreaming I'm Syrian. I own a small barber shop. My 2 teenage children are in school. My wife works at a grocery. We have long meals, and we laugh. Whiskey makes me weep, as though every potato in Ireland remembered the famine. I drink red, Italian if I can find it, full-bodied. I like to think it's the blood of gods, gladiators. But come to think of it, those old Romans sure were tough. They thought highly of themselves and their corrupt empires, all those big slave monuments. I'm a hypocrite in my red cups, happy in my small corner, while the rest of the world unfurls in flame. Last at bat. I felt like Yogi Berra. I made the wrong mistake. It wasn't the first time. We are rarely the heroes we wish to be. Our kingdom's usually small, sad affairs. I remembered the right thing, and then I didn't do it. Because I was hungry or lazy, my selfish self sucked in the day as though I owned it, as though the sun rose for me. Next door, the dog lounged on the porch, licked his balls because he could. 2 doors away, the mailman approached. My sun was not in bright sky. It was time to clear the bases, so I stepped up to the plate. The best people. This is where that light would come in. It's in really small print here. The best people possess a feeling for beauty, the courage to take risks, the discipline to tell the truth, the capacity for sacrifice. Ironically, these virtues make them vulnerable. They are often wounded, sometimes destroyed. Ernest Hemingway. The best people. Andy comes to our door about every 3 or 4 weeks. He is usually trailing a hockey bag, which he fills with the bottles and cans we have saved just for him. Andy's a bit younger than me. Let's say he's 40. His wife died last winter. He didn't say of what, but I think we can assume it was poverty. Andy is always polite as church. He used to be a short-order cook, but I don't think he cooks much now. I imagine teenage Andy dancing with his teenage wife, all their future yet to be danced, all those stars, all that promise up in that dark, dark sky. Andy's sorrow is no worse than many, and it is his private business. Andy is what I call a toiling optimist, and his happy diligence gives us hope. Duck and couple. The duck was doing what ducks do, sitting just off the sidewalk. It was the parking lot of a big hospital, and I was waiting for my chemo friend. It was my new Thursday morning ritual, a ritual that was much harder on my friend than me. An older couple walked by, her pushing his wheelchair, an oxygen tank riding piggyback. I knew he wanted to smoke. I knew it as soon as he looked at me. I was hoping my eyes said sorry. When the couple noticed the duck, they stopped their slow roll and took up residence on the grass a few feet from the duck. It was a beautiful morning for some of us. The minutes passed, and the 4 of us, the duck, the couple, and my lazy ass, sat there in silence, waiting for the next thing to happen. Lovesick Lake. So I'm sitting beside the famous Canadian poet Stuart Ross, and we are sorry. So I'm sitting beside the famous Canadian poet Stuart Ross, and we are looking out at Lovesick Lake. Neither of us could have imagined this scene even a short time ago, but things change. We've been on a boat for 3 days with our splendid wives. We are all sailors now. Ahoy, matey. We started on Pigeon Lake, rounded Big Island, and then ventured onto Buckhorn Lake. In Buckhorn, we went to the same Chinese restaurant that we went to the last time we were in Buckhorn. There is only one. Stuart absolutely befuddled when I asked the waitress for chopsticks, and she responded, "Well, I'll have to ask," as though it were the first time she had ever heard the question. Stuart and Laurie liked their egg foo young, and we all agreed the egg rolls were good, both vegetarian and the other kind. It wasn't the first time Stuart and I had Chinese food together, but it was one of the best. Thank you very much.